See, my father was one of the first Indian planters in this industry. Born in Assam. So we had a mix of the British planters and slowly the Indian planters came in. So it was a very mixed flavors of colonial British India tea life. Hi, I am Probir Banerjee. Everybody drinks tea. It's the second largest consumed beverage in the world. But very few people understand the mystique of tea. Very few people understand the complexity of what goes in to have that one cup of tea. It was a great opportunity to actually promote nature and tea tourism. It was my senior partner and his wife, Ranjit and Radhika Bhattakur, who actually discovered this place in 2004. And it was decrepit, unused, derelict for years together. And considering they were actually the pioneers of nature tourism in Assam, having started a property called Wild Grass in Kaziranga, they actually decided that maybe we can do something with this beautiful expanse of 22 acres. So they approached the company called MacLeod Russell, which owns this tea garden. And thereafter, we took it up on a long-term lease and gave birth to Wild Masher. It was a property that had a colonial heritage. In fact, the bungalow behind me is actually certified as a heritage property. And it had all the biodiversity that you could ever dream of. And the lifestyle and the culture and the communities around it. From the Indo-Tibet region, from the Indo-Myanmar region, the tea tribe community, the Sadri tribes that came in 150 years ago from South Bengal and settled India. So it was a potpourri and amalgamation of cultures. And we had our first guest in 2005, which was the late Maharani Gayatri Devi. This is a 22-acre property. It used to house the Bara Bungalow, as we call it, which meant the Bara Saab or the big Saab. This was his house. Our dining area, common dining area, was actually a tractor's garage. The conference room was actually police barracks. There was one house which the doctor used to live in, one house the accountant used to live in, one house where the engineer used to live in. And we got a little cottage at the back which was like an annex or a home office for the Bara Sahab. According to unofficial records, construction of this bungalow started around 1874, so it's more than 150 years old. We have tried to maintain and retain the architecture, of course. We've tried to keep the traditional core, but give it a modern outlook and a modern touch. And a lot of the artifacts and the interiors that you see is all thanks to Radhika Bhattakur. It is hand-picked, hand-chosen and hand-delivered by her. It was a community-led journey. We've so far impacted, close to 1,000 people directly or indirectly since 2005. We learned from them. We tried to facilitate whatever we could as far as they were concerned. We tried to create certain levels of social mobility and economic mobility for the not so privileged people. We tried to give back a little bit for the beautiful childhood that we had, because even Ranjit and Radhika Bhattakur, including my wife, we are all tea planters' children. So it's been a great journey. It's been a great understanding of human psyche, of respect, to give respect, and the kind of love we've received has been incredible. And nature and tea tourism today, especially today after whatever has happened and the awareness of zoonotic diseases and you know, the chasing after the single-digit GDP, people would like to come here. People would like to come here. We would like to help educate people, if I may use that word, on the cultural aspects of people, on the biodiversity, on the ecosystem services that nature creates, and yet, and more importantly, create livelihoods for the local communities who have been the custodian of this biodiversity and and this place for generations. Well, it is to create community livelihoods, create a better life for the people who are around us. You know, we've got a term that we work through our foundation called Balipara Foundation, and this is actually the social restoration project of Balipara Foundation. We have a proprietary term called naturenomics, which talks about the interdependence of nature and economics. You don't have to destroy one to grow the other. Okay? Two, we firmly believe in today's world that ecology is economy, because especially in a country like India, 60% of the population is directly or indirectly impacted through agriculture and through nature and through biodiversity. On one hand, we try and replicate, and quite successfully if I may say so, what we call the flavors of the British Assam. On the other hand, we try and work with the local communities to bring in the flavors of Tibet. Community. These communities have been the custodians of this country. To bring in the flavors of Nepal, to bring in the flavors of communities that have come from the Indo-Myanmar region. So it is an amalgamation of creating, of retaining some amount of history, but more importantly of bringing in the culture and traditions which the world is not aware of. We have facilitated opening up 5 homestays amongst 5 different communities: the Bodos, the Mishings, the Nishis, the Nepali and the Garos. And it is very much part of the itinerary of visitors that come to us to actually take them there to experience their cuisine, their beverages, their talent in terms of handlooms and handicrafts. Their tremendous knowledge of preserving biodiversity, their interaction with medicinal plants, and their whole organic way of life. And believe me, you can go to any of these villages and you'll only find smiling people, including a 111-year-old lady